Finance Committee meeting, Glynn County Board of Commissioners. Finance Committee meeting for Tuesday, February 25th, 2020, now 2 p.m. Is there any changes? Are there any changes to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move item number 23, I think it is, yes it is, to first, consider first, and
okay.
And
second.
we would like to pull item number 3 and number 32 from the agendas today. Item number 3 will be moved to March, and item number 32 until further analysis can be done.
So we're going to move 23 to item 1, and then we're going to pull 3 and 32. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, you need a motion to pull items 3 and 32.
Separately.
Well, you can amend your motion, but right now your only motion you have on the floor is to move item 23 to the beginning.
Move we motion to remove items what? 20?
3 and 32.
3 and 32. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we move item 23 to item 1, and then we pull items 3 and 32 to a later date.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Item 23.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we defer that to the full Board of Commissioners on the March 5th meeting, I think it is. There's so many moving parts in this thing that we could talk about this till dark and accomplish absolutely nothing. So I would like to defer that to the March 5th meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Second.
It's been motioned and properly seconded that we defer item 23 to the March 5th Commission meeting. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Item 2, approve the minutes from January 28th meeting. Entertain a motion. Any corrections or changes?
I didn't see anything. Move to approve those minutes. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we approve the minutes from January 28, 2020 Finance Committee. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Item 4. This is on the public safety items. Consider recommending the Board of Commissioners authorize the issuance of a purchase order for the purchase and training of 3 police service dogs and training for the dogs assigned handlers per IFB number 01148 to Highland Cane Training, Harmony, North Carolina, in the amount of $35,445, with funding to be provided by the Police Seizure Fund. Chief Powell.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. How are y'all doing today?
All right, good.
This request is coming forward to basically ensure that we have a operational canine unit with the police department. We need 3 dogs to provide the 24-hour, 7-day coverage like that we want to have. And the funding is actually coming out of the seizure money that the police department has. We actually received 2 bids on this. There was a late bid that came in, but that bid was actually over the one that we recommended. The second bid came in was in the amount of $44,250. Any consideration would be appreciated.
Chief, I've had some dogs professionally trained before that didn't work out too good. and I sent them back. If we got any kind of warranty that if this dog won't bite somebody, that we can send him back?
Well, there is a warranty on these dogs, also a health warranty on the dog in case something happens like hip dysplasia or some other medical issue for a certain period of time. That's part of the contract that they have submitted to us.
Okay, but as far as the dog's obedience and doing what we need him to do, is there a warranty there? I mean, will they take him back for further training if the dog ain't worth a flip?
If the dog is deficient in the training, the company will take it back and will either try to correct the training, the deficiency, or issue another canine.
And these three, that completes, I think, a total of 4, is that correct?
It would actually give us 5.
Okay.
We have a canine that's assigned to the narcotics unit. Does not do patrol work, it's strictly narcotics, and then we have 4 for the patrol, which this will complement the one we have now. And those 4 on patrol are actually dual dogs. They do patrol work as well as narcotics. Alerting on narcotics and trying to locate narcotics.
This was a recommendation of the IEPC report, was it not?
Yes, sir, it is. That's correct.
Okay. Any other questions? Not, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Board of Commissioners authorize the issuance of purchase order for the purchase and training of 3 police service dogs and training of those dogs assigned handlers per IFP number 01148 to Highland Canine Training, Harmony, North Carolina, in the amount of $35,445, with funding to be provided by the Police Seizure Fund.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend commissioners authorize the issuance of a purchase order to purchase and train 3 police service dogs as outlined in item 4. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 5, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners submit the 2020 Community-Oriented Policing Grant application requesting the salaries and benefits of 8 additional sworn officers.
Yes, sir. The COPS grant is something that DOJ opened up. Actually, it opened up right after we started making the budget recommendations to the county manager. We became aware of that opportunity, which will help us fund additional police officers. This particular grant will pay 75% of the salary and benefits for 3 years. And there's an obligation to maintain those employees a year after that 3 years. Obtaining this grant and getting these additional personnel will also help us meet part of the requirement that came out of the IACP study, which recommended 8 additional personnel for the police department. So this will help us meet our challenges as the community grows, and we continue to strive to be a better department. And this is a great opportunity. It came about at a great time. Once again, funding, 75% funding for 3 years for personnel is a good opportunity.
All right, 3 for 1, I think is pretty good.
Yes, sir.
Swap.
And that gives us 130 sworn officers, is that right?
It will bring us up to 130, yes, sir, that's correct.
And that's what the IACP was recommending, correct?
They recommended 8 additional personnel.
8 additional.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 2 for 2 then on that.
Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend the Board of Commissioners submit the 2020 Community-Oriented Policy Grant application requesting salaries and benefits for 8 additional sworn officers.
Second.
Been motion and seconded that we recommend to commissioners to allow the community-oriented policing grant application as outlined in item 5. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Thank you for the consideration.
Item 6, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners increase the FY20 fire fund budget revenue and expenditures in the amount of $5,000 with funding to be provided by the donation from ADT in order to purchase the Freddy the fire truck fire prevention robot.
Good afternoon. I'm Captain Johnson on behalf of Chief Gordon, who's out. On the 21st of December, there was an incident that broke out at 111 Hascott Way. It was a candle that was perhaps left on, and started an incident, started a fire. Prior to any serious damage occurring, ADT notified our dispatch. Responders from Station 6 responded that way and quickly extinguished the fire. And ADT wanted to extend a gesture to the county and offer this donation of $5,000. For years, our prevention program has been without this robot. It actually precedes me, so I haven't seen this thing in action before, but it's something that we would take to the mall, any type of event, any type of school function, and it, you speak through it. You go through fire safety education. Everything's controlled. 95% of the controls are through an individual's way back in the back.
Okay.
So,
How many of those presentations do you think you make during a year?
Commissioner, I would say half a dozen. I conservative, half a dozen.
But this would probably allow you to do some more demonstrations.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I would imagine you could do a whole lot more. Who would be assigned to do the presentation?
Division Chief Knight, this falls under his command. Prevention, community risk reduction.
Okay. Yeah, when I saw this, I thought this was a great idea.
Yes.
Didn't know it was around, and I think the young people would love it, and their parents.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Board of Commissioners increase the FY20 fire fund budget revenue and expenditures in the amount of $5,000 with funding to be provided by donation from ADT in order to purchase Freddie the fire truck fire prevention robot.
Second, Freddie.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend the Board of Commissioners increase the FY20 fire fund budget in order to purchase Freddie the fire truck robot as outlined in item 6. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Item 7, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners approve the contract for medical director services for the calendar year 2020 with Todd Lucas, MD, with funding to be provided by the FY 2020 and FY 2021 EMS budget.
Each year, we're required to have medical direction by contract, by agreement, and this is a continuation of that agreement from the previous year.
Okay. Yeah.
And you guys are satisfied, I think, whatever. I mean, everything's good.
Yes, that's correct.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the contract for medical director services for the calendar year 2020 with Todd Lucas, MD, with funding provided by the FY 2020 and FY 2021 EMS budgets.
Alan, I noticed here we're responsible for the liability insurance for the doctor. Have any idea what that number is? I mean, I hear horror stories about physicians' liability insurance.
Yes, sir.
For the year?
That's correct.
Annually.
Annual 4,000?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Does he help, what about it? Do we run across any mental health issues, or how's that done? Is it, I guess the patrolmen get those calls, or we don't get those?
We respond to those calls of psychiatric patients. In what regard?
Well, just that. Sometimes I know that we get folk who are just, they might be off their meds, schizophrenic or bipolar or something.
Yes, sir. And so our medical director, he provides direction for.
He has a protocol for that?
Yes, absolutely. We have protocol in place.
Okay. All right. It's been motion
Second.
and seconded that we recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the contract for medical director services as outlined in item 7. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Item 8, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners approve the submittal of the AFG grant application requesting 92 breathing apparatus for the fire department.
Currently, of the 92 outdated breathing apparatus, we're behind in compliance of 32 of those bottles. NFPA code section has changed twice at that point, and this is This is a request to move forward with an application for the AFG for the grant.
And so this is to make sure that everybody has one. How many do we?
We currently have 92 of these, and as I said, 32 of them have been out of compliance. This is since the second update to the NFPA code section. Essentially, this would save the county about $500,000. I mean, when we go to have to purchase these SVAs, and we're going to have to purchase them, this is for us to apply for the grant.
So our fair share is $73,000.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the submittal of the AFG grant application requesting 92 breathing apparatus machine for the fire department.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend the commissioners approve the submittal of the AFG grant application as outlined in item 8. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tax commissioner items.
Good afternoon, Commissioner.
Hey.
Running staff of the tax office.
Item 9, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners approve or deny request from Donald H. Harbaugh that penalties and interest paid in 2019 property taxes for parcel 04-13331 and 04-13332 in the amount of $20.72 and $14.33 respectively be refunded.
Yes, situation where Mr. Taxpayer stating that they did not receive the tax bill. We sent to the bill to the address we had on hand. As a matter of fact, it is even the address that they have in their return mail. It's the same address, and we sent it to the correct address we had. Since then, they've given us a new address, and we've changed that, but we sent it to the address we had on hand.
Original.
Yes, sir.
Is anybody here with that comment?
Mr. Chairman, I move we deny the request for a refund.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend the Board of Commissioners deny a request from Donald H. Harbaugh that penalties and interest be refunded. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, item 10, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners approve or deny request from Carol Lane that penalties and interest paid in 2019 property taxes on account number 215311 in the amount of $91.32 be refunded.
This is another one where Mr. Taxpayer stated they did not receive the bill. They also stated they did not receive a bill to pay. They received the annual notice of assessment, but they did not receive the tax bill. They also stated they paid taxes on time every year because they received the tax bills. Once again, we sent it to the address we had on file. We've had that address since October the 28th of 2015, which is the same address that they have, they've submitted.
Okay. Commissioners?
You gonna be the bad guy this time?
No, you go ahead.
I'm old. Consider motion to deny the request from Carol Lane that the penalties and interest paid for property taxes, number 215-311, amount of $91 be refunded.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend the Commissioners deny request from Carol Lane that penalties and interest be refunded as outlined in item 10. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Item 11, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners approve or deny a request from Charles N. Samaha that penalties and interest paid on 2018 property taxes on parcel number 04-11340 in the amount of $970.95 be refunded.
Okay, in this one, the taxpayer is stating that his checking account was compromised. He also sent screen prints reflecting all of the different payments that were not his, and also his bank sent a letter, and they stated, to whom it may concern, during the months of October and November 2018, our client, Dr. Charles M. Samaha, had unauthorized transactions on his Bank of America checking account. The result of the transactions was checks being returned. We ask that under the circumstances and fees and penalties be waived on his account. Please accept check payments going forward, as all account numbers have been changed and are in good standing. And he did send screen prints reflecting, where in which someone did compromise his account.
So, was it that he sent the money in on time?
And it came back non-sufficient.
Oh, okay, because of he had,
Stated that his account had been compromised.
and that's what the bank stated.
And that's what the bank stated as well.
Okay.
It seems to me like if the bank allowed his account to be compromised, they ought to pick up his penalty and interest charges that he's incurred.
That's what I think too.
I'm serious.
I'm serious, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
That's
understand
their
why they normally do that. So what happened with this case?
I'm not sure.
Which bank is it?
This is a Bank of America.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, it's a small hometown bank, so call
They don't have much money, so.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Board of Commissioners deny a request from Charles N. Samaha that penalties and interest paid on 2018 property taxes on parcel 04113440 in the amount of $970.95 be refunded.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend Board of Commissioners deny request from Charles N. Samaha that penalties and interest are refunded as outlined in item 11. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Thank you.
Thank you. Budget and grants, item 12. Consider recommending the Board of Commissioners amend the FY20 budgets as follows. For each department, with funding to be provided by the Revenue Stabilization Fund. I'll get it out sooner or later.
Yes, sir.
Judy.
All of the funds, or all of the expenses shown were due to Hurricane Dorian. And we're just asking that they come from the Hurricane Stabilization Fund to refund the departments up to their normal budgets.
How much is in that fund?
$30 million.
Oh, okay. Oh,
No hope from FEMA or anybody on this one, huh?
Commissioner Bronson has to be declared disaster.
Yeah. FEMA, nobody's, okay.
don't y'all know the governor?
Yeah, I know him, he just doesn't know me. That's the problem. Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend the board amend the FY budgets as followed for each department with funding be provided by the Revenue Stabilization Fund.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend to the Board of Commissioners to amend the FY20 budget as outlined in item 12. All in favor, raise your right hand. Contracts and procurement. Item 13, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners exercise the third-year option with the Mayor's Bank for the county's banking services at no cost to Glynn County. I bet.
Yes, so we're just requesting that we continue on with the Mayor's Bank for the third one-year option.
Did a good job, please.
They are doing a great job.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Board of Commissioners exercise third-year option with the Mayor's Bank for the county's banking services at no cost to Glynn County.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend to the Board of Commissioners to exercise the third-year option with the Mayor's Bank for banking services as outlined in item 13. All in favor, raise your right hand. Item 14, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners exercise the second-year extension option for audit services with Nicholas Hawley and Associates, LLC, Dublin, Georgia, in the amount of $55,000 with funding to be provided by the FY21 Finance Department operating budget. Byron.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I feel comfortable recommending this to you, which will be the third engagement with this firm. I have spoke with Greg Chapman a week ago. He is the primary audit contact with the firm, and discussed with him some of the challenges that the firm might have had here last year with all the transition, and we talked through that and have a plan. He's coming down in April to meet with me to talk about some interim work in the summer, and then what we need to do to get filed timely by December 31st coming forward. So I feel comfortable recommending. I have not worked with this firm before, but that's not unusual. I mean, I've worked with many auditors, so I feel comfortable recommending that too.
They do the airport as well, right?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend the Board of Commissioners exercise a second-year option for audit services with Nicholas Cawley and Associates LLC, Dublin, in the amount of $55,000 for funding to be provided by the FY21 Finance Department operating budget.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend the Board of Commissioners exercise the second-year extension option for audit services with Nicholas Cawley and Associates LLC as outlined in item 14. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, item 15, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners to authorize the agreement with Stifel relating to potential municipal securities transactions.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the agreement before you is to allow Stifel, who has served as underwriter for Glynn County before he formerly Merchant Capital, to look at the 2015 revenue bond issue for the airport to determine whether or not it makes sense to refinance that, as well as equipment leases we currently have on fire equipment and other equipment to determine if it makes sense to refinance it with lower interest rates. There's no charge for them to do that. However, if the county did move forward, this agreement would formalize Stifel's role as an underwriter for the transaction.
What's the balance on those bonds?
Pardon?
You know what the balance, just approximate balance of that?
Have you used this firm before? We used them before, Stifel? And that's the first time I'm running into them. So even though they're at no cost to us, we feel like they're giving us accurate, unbiased.
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, I really think you could have everybody here.
I just I have no familiarity with them, so I want to ask.
And the EDA would have to approve a similar type agreement because in the past, Commissioner Wilson, Commissioner Book may remember this, but in the past, the county, we can't issue bonds ourselves, so we go through the Economic Development Authority. They issue bonds, they have to approve a similar agreement. Ryan Moore is very familiar with Stifel. He's used it in Athens, Effingham County, and other places, and feels comfortable with this as well. Mr. Jones and I met with Trade and Road a couple weeks ago and discussed our outstanding issues and whether or not it might make sense to look to refinance. Until he looks at it, we don't know. But I can't remember if it was Frank Dodd or not Frank, but anyway, a few years ago, Congress passed legislation that requires
Dodd-Frank.
It requires agreements like this before a company like Stifel can do the analysis. And for that, I can call it Trade and Road. Trade can analyze this for us. And analyze it for us is pretty easy, but based on that legislation, we have to have a formal agreement now to look at it.
You wouldn't necessarily be changing the term of the bond, the length of the bond.
I wouldn't propose it.
Just be looking at the rate.
I want to try to pay off debt as quickly as we can.
These 10-year bonds,
I think this one's 15.
15.
The energy equipment that we funded at the same time, they're 10-year bond, but those aren't callable. because of the way they were set up. And the airport bond wasn't called until just this year. Before it wasn't eligible. And the airport bond is not tax exempt, it's a taxable bond.
Right, I recognize.
So you have those considerations as well.
Mr. Chairman, I move directly to the Board of Commissioners to authorize the agreement with Stifel relating to the potential municipal securities transaction.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend that the Board of Commissioners authorize an agreement with Stifel relating to municipal securities transaction as outlined in item 15. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, item 16, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners approve the amendment to Tyler Technologies Munis contract to remove the project cost of unused data conversions in the amount of $16,000 and adding 100 implementation hours in the amount of $16,000 with a net change in the contract amount of 0. John.
All right. What it amounts to, we determined that we weren't going to use the $16,000, as originally purposed in the budget, but as we continue to implement Munis and modules that we need their services for configuration and help and training, and so we're just moving this money over to account for it properly for the things that we would use it for, and we only pay for these items as we incur the hours.
How's this process going?
I think it's going pretty well. We're getting ready to implement the HR payroll section of it. The financial section is working, and we've got things like time clocks in place. Wiring's in place anyway. A lot of the time clocks are in place. We're still installing those, and we start that March the 15th and doing the first payroll then, I think. It's going pretty well.
Okay, any feedback from the employees about ease of use? Any of the changes?
It's very user-friendly. I mean, I'm new to it, having just come here, and it's very intuitive.
Workflow processes should be sped up pretty well, efficient. This is the third project I've had with 2 other stops along my way. I've used Munis, or initiated them. So I was really pleased to see that they'd already gone 3/4 of the way here on time. So it's good.
It's much easier to go in for a purchase order, see what the status is, and approve it. Do it all electronically, not passing paper.
Okay.
And so it goes directly into the financial records that way too. So it's pretty good.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the amendment to Tyler Technologies Munis contract to remove the project cost of unused data conversions in the amount of $16,000 and adding 100 implementation hours in the amount of $16,000 with a net change in the contract amount of 0.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the amendment to Tyler Technology Munis contract as outlined in item 16. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Item 17, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners approve the Elevon Merchant Processing Service for online payment processing utilizing the Information Technology Purchasing Exemption with funding provided by the Community Development Operating Budget and amend the RSA Ameris Bank Agreement for merchant processing, subject to the County Attorney's approval.
One of our objectives is to get as much of the process online as we can. And by process, I mean anything where it involves getting information or citizens getting forms for building permits or any of the work that they're doing. And the Rhythm portal provides that online access to filling out those forms and getting those forms and electronically signing them so that they basically don't have to drive down here to submit their information. And the payment for that requires that we have a process in place where we can securely let them pay the fees, so calculate the fees, let them pay. And we've been using Pay Easy, I think is the right one. for payment for collecting payments there, but we tried for several months to get Pay Easy to work with this Rhythm Portal package, and essentially it will not work. There's a lot of reasons there. Basically, they don't have the interface to work with that payment process. And Elevon is the payment processor that they use in a lot of locations, and so we want to go ahead and work with them and implement that. So that's what this request is. There's some contract things where Elevon will not change their contract, and the attorney's office informed me that some parts of that contract would not be enforceable under Georgia law. I think what I've always done when I looked at contracts is look at our exposure. Our exposure is very minimal on that. So what we want to do is go ahead and proceed and get the online payment process set up and allow people to do that and get the signature on the Elevon contract, even though it's not recommended by the county attorney for the fact that some things are not enforceable under Georgia law. It means that they can't make us do something. It's not, we can't make them do things, it's that they can't make us do things, is the way I interpret that. And so we're asking for that contract to be approved and signed so that we can begin online payment.
Will, what's your position?
There's some provisions in the contract about confidentiality that we cannot abide by under the Open Records Act. There's some other things about liability that they want us to hold them harmless and things like that. Those are just things we're just straight prohibited by law to do. But they want to entertain any changes to the contract. So those provisions, because they are contrary to Georgia law, would be unenforceable. As John said, if they tried to enforce those provisions, we tell them the law prevents us from doing it. There is a little bit of a question about whether those provisions, there's a severability clause in the contract that basically says, well, whatever here is contrary to law will be stricken, everything else will remain the same or remain in the contract. But there is, a slight possibility that if we ever had to go to court to litigate this, that the court could just strike the whole contract and say the whole thing's unenforceable. So there is that little bit of a risk. Probably more likely position is that the court would strike those parts that we say are unenforceable. So if you do want to move forward with this contract as is, with them not agreeing to any changes, we would recommend that you let our office send them a letter along with the contract, signed contract, saying, we're signing this contract, but just to let you know, we don't consider certain provisions enforceable under Georgia law.
We want to put them on notice that, before it's executed, that we don't consider those things enforceable.
We've got the same sort of contract in our company. I mean, it's that thick, and with all these disclosures and all this sort of stuff. I've got some questions, and I may not know what I'm looking at there. The transactional fee was 15 cents is what I was looking at there. When I go down to page whatever it is, there's some 85-cent charges in there for voice something. What's that?
I think that's if they have to take payments over the phone. In other words, that would involve a person being on the phone, and it would take more time and involve more expense. I think that's what that involves.
I'm telling you, that can be a big number. A lot of people, when they find out they can pick up the telephone and call the county and give you a credit card number, are going to do it rather than coming down here and swiping that card. 15 cents to 85 cents can be a big number.
But this is so they can pay online, right?
Yeah. And it would be the ones that are wanting to pay online.
So the online is 15 cents. If you pick up the telephone and call you, it's 85 cents.
Right.
The other thing that there was some, in the contract, there was some blanks on, I mean, what are we being charged to lease this equipment? Those lines were blank.
We don't have any equipment leased on it.
My understanding is we won't be using any equipment.
You're going to have that little box that you swipe the card?
No.
No,
Call online.
not online. No.
Online.
What if
Just
they,
enter.
what if they call them, tell them?
If they call on the phone, if I might interject here, if they call on the phone, they'll be using the Pay Easy system, which is through Ameris Bank, and it's not additional. It's not the 85 cents. They don't pay through this system.
We wanted to go with one payment processor, but it's not going to work. And this for my Tyler to use with this. And yeah, if you're in person or down here writing a check, it's a different process.
It's a different company all the way around.
Yeah.
So we won't be charged the 85 cents, is what you're saying?
You're charged the same processing fee that you would be right now through Ameris.
Which is what?
I cannot tell you that, but I can look it up.
Well, it's 15 cents is what they,
That is through Elevon.
yeah, I know it,
That's
but
for them.
We're with First Data here at the office.
yeah, I am too.
Their reluctance to make any changes to the agreement, you're saying this is out of the box. I mean, is there other out-of-the-box programs that we should be looking at that are a little more flexible than these guys?
I would recommend we go with this one. I don't know of any other processor, and I'm not going to tell you there are not ones, but we've looked. This has been a couple months process of trying to deal with this, and we don't know of anyone that's recommended or set up or supported through software changes. What happens is, like, if we went with some other vendor, which we can do, we have to write an interface for it. If the system gets upgraded or changed, we have to go back and pay them again to write that interface again. And those are the kinds of things you run into when you deal with non-standard type systems.
You're saying you don't have to pay for that with this Elevon, is that correct?
Right. They have,
So when they have
they have
upgrades?
that interface built, and it's supported by Tyler, so the upgrades are.
So there's no charge for the upgrades?
I think it would depend on the upgrade. I hesitate to always say there's no charge, but no, I don't know any charge.
You don't anticipate any major
I don't
charges?
anticipate. Things change, but yeah, I don't
I mean,
anticipate.
upgrades come all the time.
Pretty much, yeah. It'd be more file structure change, which doesn't happen all the time, but if it were to happen, you would have to go back and every interface has to be rewritten. But they would support it through their standardization.
And Will, you're saying if we do approve the contract, you want to send it with the letter, is that correct? Send a
Right,
letter with
so
it?
there's some guidance on this. There's an Attorney General's opinion specifically about indemnification hold harmless clauses, that if a company won't remove those provisions from a contract, then sort of the next best thing to do is, if you approve that contract, send them a letter with the contract saying those provisions are void under Georgia law, therefore unenforceable. That way, if you ever get down the road of having to litigate those provisions, you have that as evidence that you let them know up front that despite what the contract says, you don't consider those provisions enforceable. So that would be my recommendation if y'all move forward with this as is. Just so they can't down the road say, well, we didn't know, or you misled us about that.
So what if they get that letter and they don't want to sign the contract? Where are we?
Then we make people come down here and pay.
So there's nobody else?
I don't know of anybody else right now. We would keep looking, obviously. I don't know of anyone else.
But I thought you just said that if we went with someone else, then we wouldn't have the ability to have upgrades without charges.
That would be the
So
assumption that there is someone.
there is someone, the assumption is there is someone there,
No,
or there's not
That
someone?
would be the assumption that there is someone else. This is the only vendor recommended by Tyler. And therefore, I would say, yes, we could find someone else, but we may be paying for the interface also.
So how much would that run, possibly,
Typically 30 to 40,000.
each time it's done?
Well, the second would probably be less, but it's a time-based charge. They have to design it, code it, test it, make sure it works.
Well, it's hard to believe First Data wouldn't be compatible with just about anything in the world. There you go.
They actually did talk with them, and they tried to work with them. They got their people together.
Yeah, it wasn't that nobody was trying. It just wouldn't work without going in and writing a custom interface.
They didn't ask me to come out. Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the Alabama Merchant Processing Service for online payment processing utilizing information technology purchasing exemption with funding provided by the Community Development Operating Budget and amend the RSA Ameris Bank Agreement for merchant processing subject to the county attorney's approval. And that would be a letter, and also a letter accompanying the contract stating our position.
Can I ask you to drop subject to the county attorney's approval from that part of
Shall?
that, please?
Yeah, eliminate that. And with the understanding that with the contract, it will accompany a letter from the county attorney outlining our legal position.
Great. Thank you.
Second.
It's been motion and seconded that we recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the Avalon Merchant Processing Service as outlined in item 17 to include a letter from the county attorney's office to accompany the contract as specified in the motion. All in favor, raise your right hand. I guess that was okay, Will. Okay, item 18, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners approve the lighting services agreement with Georgia Power to provide additional exterior lighting at Selden Park, with funding to be provided by the Facilities Management Operating Budget. Hey.
So for a couple of months now, we've got some comments from people saying that we need more light at Selden Park, and we've got more activities and rentals and things going on in the evening. And so our staff contacted Georgia Power, and they worked out a lighting proposal to help better illuminate the park. And so we are asking for your approval to enter into a service agreement with them to better light the park. We checked with our facilities maintenance division manager, Ben Loney, and they do have funds in their budget to cover the additional cost for this. And I do plan to ask for funds in the next budget cycle to make sure that they're covering this cost. Their proposal is to add some LED lighting that will make the park much brighter for our staff and for our visitors.
Yeah, it can get pretty dark out there. And I don't think they allow you to go parking over there anymore. Bill?
I ain't got to worry about that.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the lighting service agreement with Georgia Power to provide additional exterior lighting at Selden Park, with funding provided by the Facilities Management Operating Budget.
Second.
The motion and seconded that we recommend to the Board of Commissioners to approve the lighting service agreement with Georgia Power to provide additional exterior lighting at Selden Park, with funding from the Facilities Management's Operating Budget. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Item 19, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners approve the facility use agreement with Aquatech Aquatic Facility Training and Consultants, LLC, to offer a certified pool and spa operation certification course at Casino Room 114 in October 2020, and authorize waiving the facility rental fee in exchange for allowing 2 Recreation and Parks employees to attend the course at no charge.
So this is something that we have done. I think this is the second or third time that we've formed this relationship with Aquatic Facility Training and Consultants. Their technician will come in and teach a CPO course for our staff, and then it would be up to 20 people, and we would be allowed to have 2 people at no cost. The cost usually for a course like this is $300, $290 to $300 for registration fees, plus any travel costs that might be required if they had to go to Jacksonville or Savannah to participate in this certification. We do have 8 people on our staff who are currently CPOs. It's a 5-year certification, so some of those staff are getting close to needing renewals. We've got a few more staff that we've hired in the last year who are involved with aquatics operations who would benefit from taking that course. So it's definitely a win because the cost, if we had to pay for it, just registration is $600, and the rental cost for the room is about $40 a day. So we would definitely be getting the benefit by having this arrangement where they use the room and we get to complimentary certifications.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Commissioners approve the facility use agreement with Aquatic Facility Training and Consultants, LLC, to offer a certified pool spa operation certificate course in Casino Room 114 in October 2020, and authorize waiving the facility rental fee in exchange for allowing 2 Recreation and Parks employees to attend the course at no charge.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the facility use agreement with Aquatics Facility Training and Consultants, LLC, as outlined in item 19. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Item 20, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners authorize the execution of a service agreement for the application of Chipco Choice insecticide to 65 acres of athletic fields in 10 county parks with bear in the amount of $14,300, with funding to be provided by the FY20 Recreation operating budget.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Ray Casey, Recreation Department. What we're asking for is to enter into an agreement with Bayer Crop Science to arrange the application of the Chipco Choice, which is a slid-injected insecticide. It's actually put into the ground, not on top of the ground, and it'll guarantee us through the end of the year, December, control mole crickets, which is one of our biggest insects to eat turf grass. We primarily call our sports fields throughout Glynn County, including our golf park.
Is this something we do every year?
No, so we've done it years ago, but in the end, we found out, many years ago, we did it with a shady contractor. And I just recently found out about this handled through Bayer company that makes the product. And the price is a very good price at $220 per acre with the guarantee.
We did have some issues last year with some of the turf at North Glynn and at Blythe Island Ball Field and some of the other ball fields with mole crickets. And I had it in my yard as well. So we're hoping this will address those issues and we won't have those problems with the mole crickets this year.
Yeah, that seems, that's good.
What? It seems like to me this ought to be part of maintaining whatever, like fertilizer and cutting the grass and ordinary maintenance, insecticides.
Well, it is, but
I guess what I'm asking is why are we talking about this here? Maybe it's...
we have to enter into an agreement.
It's an agreement.
Well, it's written.
We're not authorized to sign.
Okay.
That's why it's before you. It's not the dollar amount. It's the agreement.
Okay.
And Commissioner Brush, you're right. It is normal maintenance. It's just...
I got it. Yeah, I understand. I get that.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Board of Commissioners authorize execution of a service agreement for the application of Chipco Choice insecticide to 65 acres of athletic fields in 10 county parks for bear in the amount of $14,300. Funding to be provided by the FY20 Recreation operating budget, subject to county attorney's approval.
Second.
So you haven't looked at this?
I have, it's
So,
When we submitted the item, I don't know that they got the approval from the attorney that the agreement was.
okay, so the motion is good
you
as
can
it-
drop that part.
Does you need to restate that?
You can Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Board of the Commissioners approve the facility use, hold on, I'm the wrong one. Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Board of Commissioners authorize the execution of a service agreement for the application of Chipco Choice insecticide to 65 acres of athletic fields in 10 county parks with bear in the amount of $14,300, with funding to be provided by the FY20 Recreation operating budget.
Second.
It's
been motioned and seconded that the Board of Commissioners, that we recommend to the Board of Commissioners authorize the execution of the service agreement for the application of Chipco Choice insecticide as outlined in item 20. All in favor, raise your right hand.
I hope this stuff kills them, just doesn't run them to the neighbors. That's what generally happens when you spray for
Yeah.
mole crickets. They just go somewhere else.
Item 21, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners reject all bids for the Neptune Park kiddie pool replaster project and authorize staff to reduce the scope of work and obtain new quotes. Lisa.
So you guys were kind enough to approve funds in the capital budget for this fiscal year for us to do a major renovation of the kiddie pool and replaster because it needs it. We got the project out for bid and unfortunately did not have any bids returned on the first go-round in October. And so we immediately rebid it the next day. And there was a required time period of 4 weeks to advertise the project. So we immediately re-advertised and we received one bid in late December. And the bid was more than double what the budget was for the project. The reason we decided not to rebid it one more time and reject them then and rebid it one more time is our window of opportunity to get the project done prior to the opening of the pool season had passed because the bids were due in late December. Had we been able to, had it come in on time, we could have awarded in January, with the Board of Commissioners hopefully approving the contract in early February and been able to get the work done in March and April and be ready for the inspection and have everything ready. Because the original scope of the work included removal of the play equipment and refurbishing of that as well as the entire replastering of the kiddie pool. Again, unfortunately, we received one bid. It was well over budget, and so because our window is closed for that, we decided that obviously reject that bid and try to downsize the scope of work and do some patchwork, which is what we've done in previous years. And so that's the direction that we feel we need to head in at this point in order to make sure that the kiddie pool and everything's open in time.
Do we do that in-house, that patchwork?
We will have to bid that out. We'll have to see quotes for that, but it will be significantly less than, because it will be spotty patching here and there just to take care of the significantly bad areas in that pool.
It's just amazing to me. In Glynn County, we've got all kind of great pool companies here, and we're getting a bid from Atlanta.
The first go-round, a local bidder, because we obviously contacted locals and said, what happened? Why did you not submit a bid? One of the local bidders told us that the deadline slipped past them. They meant to submit something. The second go-round, the local company did submit something, but they did not follow the correct process, but they didn't send it to the finance department. It was sent to the facilities maintenance division, and so therefore that bid had to be disqualified. That bid was a lot closer to the budget number, and it's just unfortunate that they didn't follow the right process to get that bid in, because if they had, we would have been able to move forward with that.
How big's that kiddie pool? I don't know.
It's pretty significant. I'm not sure what the size of it is or the gallons in there. But removing the play equipment was the big piece of it that would make it take so long. And you have to do it in certain weather, too. You couldn't do it in the wintertime.
So you do this, and then what happens next year? Then are you going to do the play equipment separately? How does that work?
We'll just keep patching it. We did not make another request to fund this project again for the next year. We'll just continue.
So this patch will last how long?
These areas will last a couple years, and then we'll have to patch some other areas. And that's actually what we've been doing for the last couple years since I've been here, is just patching different areas. It would have been nice to do a full-blown patch of the entire, and take everything out so we could actually address the entire kiddie pool, but obviously that's to request to carry that money forward and hold off on it and wait another year. There's concerns from our staff that we might not pass inspection if we don't address some of the really problematic areas in there. But we think we can do a patchwork, hopefully with a local vendor, get quotes hopefully local, and do it for a lot significantly less, but still utilize some of the capital funds, but not the $40,000 that was budgeted for.
That's what, $94,000 to rebuild on the pool. That's got to, Unfortunately, I know something about this.
Maybe you should bid on it.
Huh?
Maybe you should bid on it.
I know about writing the check. That's the only thing I know about, but it ain't anywhere close to anything like that. I got a big boot. Oh, man, Lord mercy. Okay, I move to recommend the Board of Commissioners reject all bids for the Neptune Park kiddie pool replaster project and authorize staff to reduce the scope of work and obtain new quotes.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend the Board of Commissioners reject all bids for the Neptune Park kiddie pool replaster project and authorize staff to reduce the scope of work and obtain new quotes. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Consider recommending, item 22, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners approve the concession license agreement for Coast Guard Park and Beach Concessions operation for summer 2020 to the TNR Investments LLC, DBA Sunset Slush of St. Simon's Island in the amount of $8,513.
Working with the finance department, we issued a request for quotes, and we received 3 responses to that bid. One of those bidders was deemed to be non-responsive, and so the 2 bids that remained were ranged from $7,009 to $8,513, with TNR Investments, DBA Sunset Slush being the high quote. This is a company that we've worked with for several years, and we have no doubt that they are a quality business that will do a great job. This is strictly for the Coast Guard Park concession building, as well as on the beach operations, using non-motorized push carts. And of course, their ability to do that is subject to obtaining the appropriate occupation tax certificate and permits from DNR, a letter of acknowledgement from DNR to be able to be on the beach and provide that service.
So, what made you all decide not to recommend the lowest bid?
Well, in this regard, we're wanting the higher bid. I know that's...
Okay.
They're paying us.
Yes, sir, yes, they'll be paying us, sir.
Okay. All right, I forgot it. This was.
So it's the reverse of the normal.
This is not normal. We don't
Yeah.
normally get paid for nothing.
All right.
This company does do a great job keeping the beach clean
And who follows up on making sure they have the letter from DNR and all of that?
I do.
They submit it to you?
They do, and Zach Pafford, the contracts analyst, he's also involved and make sure that we can.
As long as that's being tracked.
Yes, sir. We make sure they provide the certificate of insurance and the letters and tax certificates before they are ever allowed out there. This contract would begin around spring break, so that they could be out there and start servicing the beach that early.
I think they're the one that came. Go ahead.
I was going to make a motion.
Go ahead. That's fine.
I recommend, Mr. Chairman, recommend the Board of Commissioners approve concession and license agreement with Coast Guard Park and Beach Concessions operations for summer 2020 to TNR Investments, LLC, DBA Sunset Slush of St. Simon's Island, in the amount of $8,513.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend to the Board of Commissioners to approve the concession license agreement for Coast Guard Park and Beach concession operations for the summer 2020 as outlined in item 22. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay.
Thank y'all.
Item 23, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners. We've deferred that item. Thank God, I didn't want to read all of that. Let's see.
24.
Item 24, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners approve the first year option for copier maintenance services to Ashley's Business Solutions, Brunswick, Georgia, to be provided at an estimated cost not to exceed $87,944.28 annually, with funding to be provided by the FY21 operating budgets of the departments utilizing the service.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Glynn, the Procurement Officer from the Finance Department, and we are requesting approval to use the first-year extension on the countywide copier contract for maintenance services. We went ahead and we added last year I negotiated with them to lock us in for the next 4 years. So there's no increase in costs for the next 4 years. We're locked in at $87,000 and $87,944. So we're just asking to use the first year extension.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions?
A lot of pine trees. I don't have my thing updated.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't have my,
And he doesn't have his screen.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I'm looking to see how many copies all these people
Mr. Chairman,
made.
I recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the first-year option of copier maintenance services to Ashley Business Solutions, Brunswick, Georgia, to be provided at an estimated cost not to exceed $87,944.28 annually, with funding to be provided by the FY20 operating budgets of the departments utilizing the service.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend to the Board of Commissioners to approve the first-year option of copier maintenance services to Ashley Business Solutions, Brunswick, Georgia, as outlined in item 24. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay.
Thank you.
Item 25, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners approve a request to develop a scope of work and solicit an invitation for bid to determine the cost of contract maintenance for the courthouse grounds maintenance. Mr. Austin.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Did we go to
Chairman.
26 or 25?
25. It's 25.
This is, debris removal is 25. Am I not reading it right?
I got courthouse grounds at 25.
I got this 25, so I guess that's missed.
Oh, yeah, yours is.
All right, so that's fine. We'll switch it.
What do you got?
And the latest one. So the bottom line is I have two individuals that do courthouse maintenance, and I think I can probably do it better, cheaper by contract, and I would like the opportunity to bid it out, come back to you with that price, and see if that's true.
Commissioners, any questions?
And if that is true, then we will absorb those two folks. It's not a case where we're getting rid of people. We'll absorb them to fill other vacancies in the outfit.
Okay. Well, you certainly know more about that than I do, so I move to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the request to develop a scope of work and solicit an invitation for bid to determine the cost of contract maintenance for the courthouse grounds.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend the Board of Commissioners approve a request to develop a scope of work and solicit an invitation for bid to determine the cost of contract maintenance for the courthouse grounds. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Thank you.
Item 26, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners exercise the third option year for debris removal and disposal services should such services be needed following an event resulting in large quantities of debris from Sears, Inc.
So Series Inc. has been Series Environmental has been our debris removal contractor for the last 7 years. Of course, they've performed 3 times and 3 named storms. They continue to support us during storm preparation, and they have supported us during the appeal process that we're going through with FEMA. So we recommend that we continue to utilize them. Of course, you know that we don't pay for their services unless there's a declaration or a storm. Which is not going to happen this year.
Amen.
Commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend that the Board of Commissioners exercise the third option year for debris removal and disposal services should such services be needed following an event resulting in a large quantities of debris with Sears Inc.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that We recommend to the Board of Commissioners to exercise the third option year for debris removal and disposal services as outlined in item 26. All in favor, raise your right hand. Item 27, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners approve the reallocation of funding currently established within the Animal Control Facility purchase order to Ussery Rule Architects of St. Simons Island, Georgia, in the amount of $172,000 with the transfer of funds in the amount of $7,500 from the geotechnical allowance to the plans and specification item to cover redesign expenses required by changes in the building codes in the time since substantial completion of the plans and submittal of it for review.
So the bottom line is the actual bid was $172. We haven't spent all that. That's for design. We designed this thing right out of the chute. Okay, it was the first one to get designed. The design came in, and in the meantime, the building codes have changed, and the implementation of the new building codes have changed. So the design is going through the design review process of the county, and during that design review process, okay, the plans need to be updated to the current building specifications. In order to do that, we need to take some of our geotech money, still in the $172,000 bid there, and we're going to reallocate that to cover the cost to fix up the design. Once that's done, it will get reviewed again by DRT, and we'll be ready to put it out for bid.
We cannot go to bid with this project unless we do this upgrade on the design.
Correct.
Is that what you're telling me?
Correct. If we want to play the game like everybody else plays the game. If we want to do our building like we
Require every other builder.
require every other builder to.
Is, the amount seems excessive. Well, I mean, $7,500. I mean,
Well,
I mean, is it, how much has they changed in time since we've done this?
It's not, but it spreads out to all the disciplines. I mean,
Okay.
he's got to go to the electrician, the plumber, this guy and that guy, and they've got to consolidate that. So I mean, it's all his structural, all his specialties. You have to take a look at it.
Mr. Chairman, I'd recommend that we just defer this thing to the full board. I mean, this animal control thing is, we need to have more than 3 of us without a recommendation from the finance. Is that?
So it's agreeable to me.
Huh?
I said that's agreeable to me.
Yeah, I don't have a
I
problem.
mean, I just, good night, how much? Goodness.
So I'll entertain a motion for deferment.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend we defer to the full board for consideration with the reallocation of funding currently established in the animal control budget purchase order to Ussery Rural Architects of St. Simons Island, Georgia, in the amount of $172, with a transfer of funds in the amount of $7,500 from the geotech allowance to the plans and specifications item to cover redesign expenses required by changes in building codes in the time since substantial completion of the plans and submittal for review. Just to rehash that, I ask that we defer that to the whole board.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we defer item 27 to the full Board of Commissioners as outlined in item 27. All in favor? Item 28, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners award a contract for the on-call contract services for storm sewer cleaning and rehabilitation to Southeast Pipe Survey of Patterson, Georgia, in the amount of $40,000 with funding to be provided by the FY20 Public Works Department operating budget.
So this is a contract service that we cannot do in-house. We do a little bit of it with the backcount truck, but these guys have a camera. They're able to clean large areas of pipe, and they're able to rehabilitate the pipe if need be. So this was the best technical score, and my engineer, Ben Pierce, prefers these folks. It's $40,000 on call. We don't use it, but we tend to find areas that need to be looked at.
Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend the Board of Commissioners award a contract for on-call contract services for stormwater cleaning and rehab to Southeastern Pipe Survey, Inc. of Patterson, Georgia, in the amount of $40,000 with funding to be provided by the FY20 Public Works Department operating budget.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend to the Board of Commissioners to award a contract for on-call contract services for stormwater cleaning and rehabilitation services to Southeast Pipe Survey, Inc., as outlined in item 28. All in favor, raise your right hand. Now, this is on the written one. This is on here twice, right? 28.
Seems to be a little bit off.
28 and 26 on the written one. That's the right, okay, that's the new one. All right. Item 29, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners approve demolition of the Demery Park Community Building by Public Works Department.
Okay, so I think I have some pictures of this. We would prefer to demolish it in-house and have that area available for future pavilion or future something.
Is the porta potty there for a purpose, or is
The
it
porta
just
potty is there for
decoration?
a person. I think Lisa pays the porta potty bill. You do the porta potty, Lisa?
So is there any other facilities over there?
There is no other facility over there. There's no bathroom over there. There's a skate park, and there is a ball field, and there is a, if you go back, once this way, go back a slide. Well, there we go. And a playground.
I'll tell you, that facility is utilized over there. A lot of kids.
We
play ball.
attempted under the ADA program to upgrade a pavilion and a bathroom, and the cost just came in very high. So what we'd like to do is take that in stages. Let's demolish this. Let's go back to the drawing board and figure out the bathroom and the pavilion. The bathroom turns into a challenge because it's currently a septic tank. You got to go to got to get online and gravity and all this other stuff. And then the ADA presents a challenge because the building has to be at a certain level. And then once it's at a certain level, all the sidewalks have to be at a certain level to get to the dugouts. And so everything is we've had a design, it was a challenge, but what we'd like to do is now just get rid of the building and go back and look at future options.
Well, we're just going to leave the porta potty over there? I'm concerned about this.
The porta potty's going to be there, yes, but that's a need. There were 3 skaters yesterday. I don't know if they used the porta potty, but they were skating yesterday.
I mean, there are a lot of baseball teams that practice over that thing. I mean, I know.
Absolutely. Well, I mean,
Use that restroom.
Well, I mean, the building currently is not used for anything. It's boarded up. The bathrooms are unusable. I think there is a little bit of storage in there.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Board of Commissioners approve demolition of the Demery Park Community Building by the Public Works Department.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend to the Board of Commissioners to approve demolition of the Demery Park Community Building by Public Works. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Item 30, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners award a contract for the Black Bank River Tributary Bridge Repair Project to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, Masana, Inc., Tyrone, Georgia, in the amount of $172,013 from funding to be provided by the FY 2020 Capital Projects Fund. with an additional amount of $30,000 for a project contingency, for a total of $202,013, and amend the capital projects budget for FY20 LMIG as follows: for the FY grant award of $1,032,681 received as follows: decrease the FY20 capital projects fund bridge revenue in the amount of $36,350 and expenditures in the amount of $47,254, and increase the FY20 capital projects fund roads revenue expenditures in the amount of $722,877 each.
Thank you for reading that, Mr. Chairman. I can explain the top half of that, and I'm going to let my finance folks explain the bottom half of that. First of all, I do have some pictures on this one. The Peninsula Bridge is right here. Call it the Peninsula Bridge, or the Black Bank River Tributary Bridge. This is what it looks like. It serves this large group of people, right, about 7 or 8 people. I'm not sure why the county ever accepted.
I'm fixing it. You took
Not
the words
sure
out of
why
my
the county
you
ever
took the
accepted
words
this
out of my
bridge,
mouth. How do we
but
win
we
this
own
one?
this bridge. It gets inspected by GDOT. It's on our list. We're going to fix it. So that's, you know, if we. So this is what the bridge looked like in 2016. So we're going to. Of course, this is bad. This is bad. These cracks are bad. This crack down here is bad. And this decking is worse than it was 3 years ago. So we have a plan to fix it. The $30,000 is additional money, contingency in case something happens. Sometimes you start working into this stuff and stuff starts falling off, or you find more rebar rusted than you thought you found, or you uncover problems. Sometimes you take this decking off, we're liable to find stuff under the decking. So that's the deal with that. What we've done with the LMIG is we've taken 30% of the LMIG and put it towards bridge repair. We're working diligently every year to knock out a couple of bridges. When we do that, we have to take a capital match for that LMIG piece, and that all goes into the finance, and that's why they've got all that. This last part of this is finance housekeeping that they need to make sure that their accounts are correct. Is that about right, Judy?
Yes, sir. Basically, what we're doing is he received a grant of $1,032,681, and we only budgeted for the bridges piece last year. So we have to do the $722,877 for the roads pieces of this to get it into the budget. And then we're truing up the balances with the decrease to what he's going to be using.
I told you, just tell them it's housekeeping. I don't have to go into all that.
Yeah. Can you?
Because I just, now we got confused.
What do you mean? Why would you think that I'm confused?
She's explained it to me a couple of times. I still can't, I don't understand this.
So we got a grant, and then what happened?
We got a grant, and it came in for more than we had budgeted for previously. So we've got to take care of that money. We've got to put it in the budget so they can spend it.
Okay. All right. That sounds better. Okay. Commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Board of Commissioners award a contract for the Black Bank River Tributary Bridge Repair Project to the lowest responsible bidder, Asana Inc., Tyrone, Georgia, in the amount of $172,013, with funding to be provided by the FY 2020 Capital Projects Fund, with additional amount of $30,000 for project contingency, for a total of $202,013, and amend the capital projects budget for fiscal year 20 LMIG as follows: for the FY 20 grant award of $1,032,681 received as follows: decrease fiscal year 20 capital projects fund bridge revenue in the amount of $36,350 and expenditures in the amount of $47,254, and increase FY 20 capital projects fund roads revenue and expenditures in the amount of $722,877 each.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend to the Board of Commissioners to award a contract for the Black Bank River Tributary Bridge Repair Project as outlined in item 30. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, item 31, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners exercise the third-year option to contract for bulk fuel delivery to Summers Oil. Yeah, I need to wear my glasses. Summer Oil Company, Richmond Hill, Georgia, for .06, the total markup over Opus Low Rack regular unleaded 87 octane fuel and .067 total markup over Opus Low Rack number 2 low sulfur diesel fuel, which includes freight with funding to be provided by the FY21 fuel budget in various funds.
Basically, this is the fuel contract for diesel and gas. We pay a total markup or a percentage of the markup over the Opus Low Rack for regular and for low sulfur diesel. Summer Oil helped us out during Irma. They were the only ones that responded. They've responded well. Our fleet department is happy with their service. And before we had them, we didn't have an annual contract, and we just had to bid on it each time. It's a real challenge. So,
What I hear from folks I know in this business, it's a good price.
sir.
I move to recommend the Board of Commissioners exercise the third-year option of the contract for bulk fuel delivery to Summers Oil Company, Richmond Hill, Georgia, for .06 total markup over Opus Low Rack regular unleaded 87 octane fuel and .067 total markup over Opus Low Rack number 2 low sulfur diesel fuel, which includes freight with funding to be provided by FY21 fuel budget in various funds.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend to the Board of Commissioners to exercise the third-year option to contract for bulk fuel delivery to Summers Oil Company as outlined in item 31. All in favor, raise your right hand.
What's low sulfur diesel? Is that just regular diesel fuel? Is
I believe
something
so.
special about this?
Smells better.
Okay.
Okay, item
If you want to get it
32
with
is
sulfur, you can
been
get it with
pulled.
sulfur.
Item 33, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners exercise the first option for ground maintenance services at the Recreation Department, Facility Maintenance, and Fire Department to Creative Landscapes, Brunswick, Georgia, in the amount of $82,020, with funding to be provided by the FY21 Recreation Department, Facilities Maintenance, and Fire Department's operating budgets.
So this is one of our landscape ground maintenance contracts. This one takes care of some office buildings, facilities maintenance, rec department, fire department, safety complex. The actual firehouses take care of their stuff themselves. He has no increase this year. It's the same price as he did last year. He services well, does a good job, and I recommend that we give him this first-year option.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Board of Commissioners exercise the first-year option for ground maintenance services at the Recreation Department, Facilities Maintenance, and Fire Department to Creative Landscapes, Brunswick, Georgia, in the amount of $82,020, with funding to be provided by the FY21 Recreation Department, Facilities Maintenance, and Fire Department's operating budget.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend to the Board of Commissioners to exercise the first-year option for ground maintenance services in the Recreation Department, Facility Maintenance, and Fire Department to Creative Landscapes. All in favor, raise your right hand. Item 34. Consider recommending the Board of Commissioners exercise the second option year for right-of-way mowing and landscaping services at Demery Frederica Roundabout Task 1 in the amount of $7,500, for the Frederica Lawrence Roundabout Task 2 in the amount of $2,800, for Sea Island Road Demery to Frederica Task 3 in the amount of $8,700 for Lawrence Road Roundabout to Hampton Point Task 4 in the amount of $16,600 for Creative Landscapes for a total project amount of $37,600 with funding to be provided by the FY21 Public Works operating budget.
So this is also Creative Landscaping. As you know, we mow 4 areas on the island by contract. The 2 roundabouts, we mow and Sea Island Road, and then Frederica, Lawrence Road. We do meet with Jay and his wife, Cher, once a month to talk about their maintenance and how they're doing. Only complaints we usually get about are trash on Sea Island Road, which we work on, and we're working to fix the Dimry Frederica roundabout, the greenery in there, the Asiatic jasmine. We got some planting going on in there. Unfortunately, some of it is going up through the signs. I get it. It grows where you don't want it to grow. It doesn't grow where you want it to grow.
Go grow some over there at Ace Beach.
Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Board of Commissioners exercise a second option year for the right-of-way mowing and landscaping services of the Dimry Frederica Roundabout, Task 1, in the amount of $7,500. For the Frederica Lawrence Roundabout, Task 2, in the amount of $2,800. For Sea Island Road, Dimry to Frederica, Task 3, in the amount of $8,700. For Lawrence Road Roundabout to Hampton Point, Task 4, in the amount of $16,600. Creative Landscapes for a total project amount of $37,600 with funding to be provided by the FY20 Public Works operating budget.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend to the Board of Commissioners to exercise the second option year for right-of-way mowing and landscaping services as outlined in item 34. All in favor, raise your right hand. Item 35, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners approve the first year option for the provisions of inspection, surveillance, and chemical control, biological control, efficiency testing, and reporting with Mosquito Control Services of Georgia, effective January 1, 2020, at a yearly cost of $1,005,407 with funding to be provided by FY 2021 Public Works operating budget.
This is Mosquito Control Services. They have been performing services for us the past 7 years and took over after the county was doing it. These folks do an outstanding job.
They do.
Additionally, as we get into the summer months, they do a very good job of identification of mosquitoes, and they have done a very good job in identifying the mosquitoes that carry West Nile and attacking those areas where they find those mosquitoes. So we haven't had any West Nile outbreaks, but we have had West Nile identified mosquitoes flying around. They've identified them. They've gone in there, blanketed the area. They've put door knockers on the doors, and so they've done a very good job. They're very good to work with, very professional, and any question that comes up, Dr. Howard gives a full and detailed answer to anything you need to know about mosquitoes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the first year option for the provision of inspection, surveillance, chemical control, biological control, efficacy testing, and reporting with Mosquito Control Services of Georgia effective January 1st, 2020 at a yearly cost of $1,005,407 with funding to be provided by FY20 and FY21 Public Works operating budget.
Second.
It was about the same as last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, just up a little bit, $10,000. The chemical price is the same, $350. It's always about $1 million, and we do get $100,000 from the Corps of Engineers for mosquito abatement on Andrews Island.
Yeah, they do an excellent job. Before they started with swarms, I was getting a bunch of reports, and I was in them. It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend to the Board of Commissioners to approve the first year option for the provision of inspection, surveillance, and chemical control for mosquito services as outlined in item 35. All in favor, raise your right hand. Item 36, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners exercise the first year option for maintenance of 2 South Harrington Park ponds to the State Management Services of Brunswick, Georgia, in the amount of $6,034,000. Oh.
I like that contract. I want to be
Easy.
$6,034.20 with funding provided by the FY 2020 and FY 2021 Public Works operating budget.
Okay, so I'm remiss on this, I should have had a picture for you, but if you don't spray those ponds, they have a green scum that lies across it. And so you've got to put $500 a month of chemicals in there to beat that down. Now, we've also put a grass carp in there, but grass carp don't eat algae, they eat grass.
They'll climb up on the bank and eat it.
So we've got some grass carp we're working in there, we've got this. The folks that are surrounding it, we have a couple of residents on that pond now, on the western pond. They have complimented the fact that the pond is clear, looks nice, and the only thing we got to work on is trash in the pond. These people were supposed to pick it up, get a boat in there. We'll follow up on that. We have a new supervisor over there that we talked about this morning. This is the estate's services is used by other HOAs over there. I've talked to some other folks over there, and that's what they spend. It's consistent with the cost that they're paying. Questions?
Mike, I mean, is it, if you put an aerator or something in there?
You could put an aerator in. Now, my friend Colonel Jim Frazier over there in his neighborhood at Dunbarton, he pays these guys about $500. He's also got some aerators in there. So then you got to run them. You got to make sure they're working. We might need aerators just to get the fish moving in there a little bit, but
Aerator doesn't cure algae.
Doesn't cure it?
No, I got one of those. Let me tell you something. This copper bromide, it's a tube of the stuff. You know, you put it in septic tanks to kill roots going to everything. Listen to this. You take a pillowcase and you pour that. Listen, just listen. Take a pillowcase, tie that sucker up, hook it to a gallon milk cart, and put a thing of that in there and throw it out in the pond. Just let it float around. Kill every bit of that algae. That's just something like that. I've made that up. I didn't. It really does work, though. I mean, but these ponds are probably.
that may be what they're doing. I'll tell you, they're clean.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it than that. These guys do a great job. They work a lot.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Board of Commissioners exercise the first year option for maintenance of the 2 South Harrington Park ponds to Estate Management Services, Inc. of Brunswick, Georgia, in the amount of $6,034.20, with funding provided by FY 2020 and FY 2021 Public Works operating budget.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we recommend to the Board of Commissioners to exercise the first year option for maintenance of the 2 South Harrington Park ponds to Estate Management Services, as outlined in item 36. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Thank you.
All right. And thank you for
Chairman, item 23, and what was the other one that we talked about? The one about the animal control thing?
27. I believe that's what it was.
27 is what I have here.
Okay. Those were the only two? We're adjourned.